In early M42, following in the wake of the event known as the Noctis Aeterna, which saw the guiding light of the Astronomicon being temporarily snuffed out, a demonic incursion led by the demon prince Marbus the Fallen would succeed in breaching the defences of the Rock, the fortress monastery of the Dark Angels Space Marine chapter. The demonic horde would rampage throughout the entirety of the Rock, with no location being spared from their attentions. The Dark Angels would battle fiercely to defend their home from Marbus' forces, with both sides reaping a bloody toll upon one another. Yet as the conflict reached its brutal crescendo, the demons would suddenly and unexpectedly vanish, seemingly having lost all stomach for further conflict against the Astartes. Suspecting that Marbus may have had an objective beyond that of mindless violence and destruction, Azrael, the Supreme Grand Master of the Dark Angels, would journey into the deepest dungeons of the Rock in order to either confirm or allay his worst fears. Azrael's suspicions regarding the demonic assault would prove to be true, as the carnage unleashed by the demons appeared to be little more than a diversion for Marbus to accomplish his true objective. Much to his horror, Azrael would discover that Luther, the former second-in-command of the original Dark Angels Legion, who turned traitor during the course of the Horus Heresy, and the first of the so-called Fallen Angels, had been freed from his imprisonment. Despite this shocking revelation, Azrael was forced to bear this knowledge alone, for no man within the ranks of the Dark Angels chapter, save for those who attain the rank of Supreme Grand Master, is aware of Luther's continued survival. Prior to his escape, each successive chapter master of the Dark Angels would awaken Luther from his stasis for one of three main purposes: to seek advice, as one would from an oracle or soothsayer, force him to repent for his crimes against both the Dark Angels and the Imperium, or simply try to make sense of the man's broken ramblings. Sometimes, the traitor would have brief spells of lucidity, where he would either attempt to deceive his interrogator, or divulge clues regarding the whereabouts of other fallen angels, or that of long-forgotten Legion relics. Most of the time, however, Luther would either endlessly scream out of pain or madness, or simply ramble about how he had no need to repent, for the Primarch Lionel Johnson would one day return in order to fully absolve him of his sins. In the years following Luther's escape, news would reach the Dark Angels regarding events occurring beyond the Cicatrix Maledictum, within the depths of Imperium Nihilus. It would be revealed that within this particular region of space, the Fallen are gathering en masse for some unknown purpose. So great is the number of fallen Dark Angels that are mustered, that they are said to have formed a legion that is capable of bringing the entire galaxy to heel. While the other members of the Inner Circle, those few Dark Angels that are privy to the very existence of the Fallen, have their own suspicions regarding the leader of this so-called Legion, Azrael believes that the Fallen may have sworn fealty to none other than Luther himself. But is there any truth to such an assumption? Could Luther truly be in command of an entire legion of fallen angels? Initially, such an idea would appear to be somewhat feasible, given that Luther had originally commanded those Dark Angels that would come to be known as the Fallen. When Luther was dismissed from the Great Crusade in order to command a garrison force of Dark Angels upon their homeworld of Caliban, Luther would, over time, begin to grow increasingly bitter and resentful towards both Lionel Johnson and the Imperium at large. Eventually, Luther would convince his fellow Dark Angels upon Caliban that they had been abandoned by their Primarch, resulting in those under Luther's command, who would henceforth become known as the Fallen, to turn their backs upon the Imperium. Over time, Luther would allow himself to become increasingly corrupted and augmented by the powers of chaos, and by the time that he and the Lion would face off against one another during the fall of Caliban, the abilities gifted to him by the ruinous powers had not only made him the Lion's equal upon the battlefield, but would allow him to inflict a seemingly mortal wound upon the Primarch during the course of their duel. What makes the idea of Luther being in command of this legion of fallen angels somewhat unlikely, however, is due to the events that occurred in the aftermath of the traitor inflicting such a devastating wound upon the Primarch. seeing his once dearest friend being racked with intolerable pain, as well as being disgusted by his own actions, Luther's mind would break, and he would slump down beside his Primarch, no longer desiring to fight. Following the destruction of Caliban, the Dark Angels would recover Luther from the largest surviving fragment of the world, which would go on to form the very foundations of the rock itself. When the Dark Angels attempted to question the traitor in regards to the fate of their Primarch, Luther could not answer, and so the traitor would remain a prisoner of the Angels for the next 10,000 years, locked away within a stasis cell. Yet unbeknownst to both Luther and the Dark Angels, Lionel Johnson would be spirited away by the mysterious beings known as the Watchers in the Dark prior to Luther's capture. Because of this, as detailed within the 8th edition Dark Angels Codex, Luther would be rendered somewhat insane and mentally unstable, displaying rare and preciously brief moments of clarity and lucidity. Because Luther's mind has been all but shattered, it seems somewhat unlikely for him to be capable of commanding an entire legion's worth of warriors given his current mental state. That being said, however, Luther has attempted to deceive those that sought to interrogate him over the millennia, and as such, it is possible that the extent of Luther's insanity could be greatly exaggerated by the traitor himself in order to deceive the Dark Angels as a whole. But even if Luther's mind has been irrevocably broken to the point where he is seemingly incapable of anything, let alone commanding an army, there is a chance that the traitor could still be leading this legion of fallen angels in a manner of speaking. Since Luther was apparently freed from his imprisonment by Marbus, who to reiterate is a demon prince, then it is possible that Marbus intends to utilize Luther as a puppet leader, using him to outwardly command such a legion on the surface, whilst the demon prince essentially pulls all the strings from behind the scenes. It is worth remembering that while the Fallen had turned against the Imperium during the course of the Horus Heresy, not all of these warriors have fallen to the corrupting influence of chaos. While some of these warriors have certainly embraced the worship of the ruinous powers, becoming true Chaos Space Marines, other members of the Fallen will seek to atone for their crimes or attempt to reintegrate into Imperial society, while others still become little more than pirates or mercenaries. Some members of the Fallen have even been known to aid the Imperium on occasion, such as during the course of the Terran Crusade, which saw a number of fallen angels aligned with the enigmatic figure known as Cypher fight alongside the Ultramarines Primarch Rubicante Guilliman as he made his journey towards Terra in the aftermath of the 13th Black Crusade. Since Marbus is the sole member of the Fallen to have ever ascended to demonhood, as detailed within the data slate Cypher, Lord of the Fallen, then this fact could potentially prevent the Demon Prince from recruiting a significant number of Fallen to his cause, whatever it may be. Since Marbus is a demonic entity, then, in theory, he could very well attempt to use the physical body of Luther as a host for his essence. As Marbus would, for all intents and purposes, become Luther, then the Demon Prince could potentially rally more and more members of the Fallen to his banner, under the pretense that they would be pledging themselves to Luther as opposed to Marbus himself. This idea wouldn't be entirely unwarranted, as there have been incidents of Demon Princes possessing a mortal host. A particularly prominent example is shown with Makar the Reborn, who was able to possess the body of an Ultramarines dreadnought named Altarian after being freed from his imprisonment by the Iron Warriors Traitor Legion. As such, it wouldn't be entirely unfeasible for Marbus to possess the body of Luther, although one would imagine that, over time, Luther's body would begin to manifest signs of corruption as a result of its new demonic occupant, similar to how the chassis of Altarian would steadily grow more demonic in appearance. Alternatively, perhaps Luther's disappearance is entirely unconnected to this gathering of fallen angels. What if instead Luther had been taken by the Watchers in the Dark? The reasoning for this comes from the fact that the Watchers not only demonstrate their own unique and esoteric abilities, but also because these creatures have been known to make off with certain individuals in order to spare them from harm. Not only were the Watchers responsible for bringing Lionel Johnson into the heart of the Rock itself, where the Primarch now slumbers entirely healed of his wounds, but it has even been rumoured by some that the Watchers are responsible in ensuring that Cypher, the most reviled and mysterious member of the Fallen, is always able to escape from incarceration or disappear suddenly in order to avoid death. With this in mind, it wouldn't be unreasonable to assume that when Marbus launched his assault against the Rock, the Watchers in the Dark may have spirited Luther away in order to avoid him being captured by the demons. If this were indeed the case, then perhaps Luther had been brought to the chamber where the Lion currently sleeps. Perhaps Luther is now patiently waiting for his Primarch to awaken so that he may be finally forgiven for all of his sins. But regardless as to whether Luther or Marbus leads this growing legion of Fallen, one thing is for certain. Should the Dark Angels ever meet this legion upon the field of battle, then the carnage unleashed by both sides will be the stuff of legend. What do you think? Leave a comment below, and thanks for watching.